Hello and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Danielle Dempsey. Here with me tonight is the Executive Director for Penn State's THON, Lily Pevoto. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, Lily.
Thank you.
So for those who aren't really familiar with THON, can you explain what it is and what your mission is?
Absolutely. THON is the largest student-run philanthropy in the world. Our mission is to provide emotional and financial support for children and families impacted by childhood cancer. We do this through a year-long effort, various events both at the Penn State University Park campus and across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to spread awareness and ultimately find a cure for childhood cancer.
That's incredible. So what do you do as the Executive Director of THON?
Yeah, this year, first and foremost, my role is to be a resource to the entire THON community, and that comes in a bunch of different ways. So one of my primary roles is supporting the THON Executive Committee throughout the year and all of the different events, resources, and initiatives that they provide to students, alumni, and stakeholders all around the world. Beyond that, I manage stakeholder relationships with important groups such as university administration, our partners, Four Diamonds, and Penn State Health Children's Hospital. And then I also just work throughout the year to make sure that we're putting THON in a better place than we found it. So making sure that in 5, 10, 15 years, one day we'll find a cure for childhood cancer.
That's awesome. You wear a lot of hats as far as THON goes. You mentioned the executive committee, so that makes me wonder, what other roles did you hold during your past years in THON to work up to this leadership position?
Yeah. Last year, I was lucky to be the communications director for THON 2022, where I managed our relationships with all of our students. So I was the primary liaison to any student interested in volunteering for THON throughout the year. Prior to that, I held roles on the communications committee as a captain, on the supply logistics committee as someone who manages our relationships with donors, and then I served as a committee member on the Rules and Regulations Committee, where I ensured the safety and security of all people who come to our events throughout the year.
Wow, that's really cool. You mentioned a whole lot of different executive committees and these different positions, and so it definitely takes a village to put THON together, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And it's not even just all of the people, there's a lot of time, and as you mentioned, events leading up to THON. So what events can students anticipate coming up before THON weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So next Monday, October 24th, starts the Dream Forward campaign, which is a 17-day campaign where we challenge the THON community to raise $700,000. So that'll all culminate on November 9th, which actually is 100 days till THON, where we'll have a bunch of festivities going on in the hub. It's a really fun day. We'll have silent disco and a whole bunch of different fun things. So I would definitely encourage students to come to the hub on November 9th. That's also where we'll reveal the total for the Dream Forward campaign this year. Other than that, we have the family carnival where we gather all of our Four Diamonds families and we just have a day full of fun with them. It's one of my favorite days ever. And then in the spring, we'll have THON Weekend 2023.
Awesome. I know I'm really looking forward to the 100 Days to THON event and being at the hub on November 9th. This past weekend, you had another annual event, which was the THON 5K. How did that go?
Oh, it was an awesome day. We had a record number of in-person attendees, breaking over 3,000 runners, which was awesome to see the THON community finally come together for an in-person big public event, our first of the year this year. It was a really awesome day. We got lucky with beautiful weather, and we were lucky to join the THON community in an awesome day running around campus.
Yeah, over 3,000 runners. That's insane. I saw them running down when I woke up, and I was like, good for them. Like, that is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't run myself.
Yeah, that's so cool. And so you've been mentioning all these different events, but if you had to choose, what would be your all-time favorite THON-related memory?
A tough question, and one I think about a lot, but my favorite THON memory has to be actually my first year at Penn State when I was a Rules and Regulations Committee member. I just got really lucky, and I got stationed right at the door where all of the dancers come in and take their first steps onto the floor for THON weekend. And I just happened to be in a place where there were a lot of children and families lining the tunnel and giving them high fives as they came in. And that's when it really became clear to me as just a first-year student that this organization is about so much and it affects so many people. So we saw I just got to see all the smile and joy that it brought to children and families, but I also got to see the joy and all of the smiles of all of the students coming down the stairs who were so excited to stand for 46 hours, which I couldn't fathom at the time, but throughout the weekend I realized how special it was. And
Yeah, that's so sweet. That definitely sounds like a core memory.
Yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to about THON 2023?
Yeah. So I think for the past couple years, every student organization has faced so many different challenges. We, 2 years ago, had to hold THON weekend virtually. Last year, we had to manage COVID restrictions with the university and figure out how we could prioritize the health and safety of children and families and also all of our students. And this year, with light restrictions so far, crossing my fingers and knocking on wood, we've really been able to take a closer look at ways we can improve the way that we interact with all of these groups. So one of my biggest goals this year was to make sure that THON is a welcoming and inclusive place for all students, and it's something that I've thought about pretty much every day in this role, and something I'm excited about continuing as the year progresses.
Awesome. And you mentioned how you want THON to be this inclusive and welcoming community to everyone. So I was wondering, what is your advice to students who want to get involved with THON but aren't sure how?
Absolutely. The thing that I love about THON is there is a place for every single person. Right now, we actually just wrapped up our committee member selection process, but we do have over 400 organizations who participate in THON with a vast variety of interests and missions. So if you're a runner and you love running, you can give back to THON through the club cross-country team or the club track team. All of these different groups have different interests, and they use those interests and skills to give back to THON. So I would encourage everyone to go on Org Central and find something that they love, because most likely that organization gives back to THON in some way. If you're a first-year student, we'll have our first-year committee member applications open up at the end of this semester. So just head to THON social media, and we'll be sure to put out information about that when the time comes.
Nice, that's wonderful. It's awesome that there's so many different ways for Penn State students to get involved and work for a great cause, you know? What you're doing and what everyone else who's involved with THON is, what you guys are doing is incredible, and you should be really proud of the work you're doing. It's
Thank you,
amazing.
Danielle.
Thank you so much for your time tonight and for joining us. Next up, Carly and Paloma will bring us the latest news from across the nation. We'll be right back.